Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today we're going to be doing a ranking video or a worst to first video here for set number 71386, the LEGO Super Mario Character Pack Series 2, and these are going to retail everywhere in the US and Canada for $4.99 each, and there are 10 characters in this series, and I wanted to do a separate ranking video for all of these because I do have what is either released already or is going to release at some point a ranking video for all of the 2021 Super Mario sets that have been revealed, but I wanted to do a separate one for this just so I could go more in depth on my opinions and thoughts about each of these builds, kind of compare them to their in-game counterparts, and just share my thoughts in that sort of way. Then you get your own little individual ranking for these as well, and keep in mind also this is all my personal opinion as well. I'll be kind of basing it off, of course, just purely personal opinion, and then also just kind of how they translated it into the LEGO form and just the design, if I really like the look of it, kind of the terrain builds as well, how those kind of turn out. So I'll be basing it off of all of that, but be sure to let me know all of your rankings down below as well and your opinions on this series here, and let me know if you also collected the first series. Personally, I've only picked up one pack from the first series, but I don't know if I plan on collecting all of them, but maybe in the future I'll wind up doing so. But for now, without further ado, let's get straight into it here with number 10. Alright, so to start off here, we have the Foo at number 10 right here, and for this one, it's mainly because, for one, I'm not a huge fan of the build here. I feel like it just looks kind of weird. I do like the terrain build, I like the cactuses there, I think that's a pretty creative build as well, and just kind of how they made it look like it's floating there, using that translucent piece, I do like that, but it's just the actual build of the character here. I'm just not a huge fan of it, and translating it from the video game to the brick build form was kind of difficult, I'm sure, because it's a very like circular sort of build, because it's almost like a cloud, I would compare it to. So I think that they did an alright job with it, probably the best that they possibly could without just making a fully new molded piece for it, but I still feel like the translation isn't really there, and I'm just not a huge fan of the design. Then at number 9 here we have the Parabeetle, and this one, honestly, I can't say there is too much wrong with how they translated the design. One of the main things I would say is maybe the face, just the brick that they chose to kind of print it on. It isn't really as curved as the in-game design, but I do not mind the terrain build. I feel like it's a little bit lacking. There isn't too much going on with this one. It's a bit weaker, I would say. Kind of a similar idea to the previous one, just a little bit of a plant life there, but not too much else going on. I like the wings on the little shell there though. I like the shell mold, but I just still don't feel like overall it's too great of a character design. Next up here at number 8, we have Ninji right here, and for this one I would have to say it's just kind of the translation of the design into the brick built form here. Ninji kind of has his arms, his legs, and his ears, and I feel like it doesn't really translate here in this brick built form. I can see where they were trying to do it, of course, with the feet and the arms there with the little slanted pieces, but I just don't feel like it translated too well. I do like the face print though. I think that looks pretty good. That's probably my favorite part of it, and then the terrain build feels a little bit lacking. I do like the lily pad piece that is included there. I think that's quite cool, but other than that, there isn't anything too amazing with this design, and it just has a very simple look to it. Now at number 7 here we have the Huckit Crab, and I think that this one actually has a pretty cool looking build. I do like the design of the Huckit Crab. I think it's a really unique one with the one sort of arm popping out of the right side there. I think that looks pretty cool. Now the arm build here is a little bit weird on it, but I do think they did an alright job of kind of capturing the look that it's meant to be like a crab claw, so I think that sort of works. The terrain build looks alright, honestly. He's kind of in a stone in the ocean, I would presume, with a little bit of a plant right there, so I don't mind that aspect to it, but this one kind of falls down to personal preference. I'm not a huge fan of the design. I think it looks a little bit weird, and nothing wrong with that necessarily. I do, of course, encourage weird and unique designs as well, because those can be pulled off really well also, but I just think that this one, for me personally, doesn't appeal too much. Now at number 6 right here we have the Spiny Cheep Cheep, and for this one, honestly, when I did my first sort of run through of this ranking, I had this one much higher up on the ranking, and this was previously before I had looked at the in-game designs, and I just don't feel like it captures that in-game design as well as I thought it had. I think that the spikes don't really look tall enough, honestly, on it there. I don't really feel like they look spiky enough, I suppose. I do like how the wings look. I thought they did a good job of recreating that sort of look, and the body and the terrain look alright also. I like the colors that they're going with. I really love the blues and the purples and the pinks. I think that all works together really well, so I do like it for that, hence why it's not like right at the bottom of the ranking, but I still don't feel like the build is anything too amazing, but I still do like the look of it. I like the face print as well, the eyes right there, and then the mouth is pulled off pretty well also using that piece there, so I think that it's still an alright character build here, but just nothing amazing. Now we've got at number 5 here the Parachute Goomba, and of course we've already seen Goomba builds in these Mario sets, so we know that LEGO is able to pull it off pretty well, but I really like the look of this one. I like the face print that they included also. I think that looks really fantastic, and they did a great job of sort of giving a lot of expression into that face there, and I love the little parachute there as well. I really do like the build of that quite a bit. It's a very smart use of the plant piece there in white, and then having the little umbrella there on the top I think looks really fantastic. Now the actual terrain build is probably the weakest part of this one. There isn't really much of a terrain build going on, so I would say that's the most lackluster part, but I just like the design of the Goombas so much that I'm kind of willing to give it a pass in that way by putting it at the number 5 spot, because I still think it looks really great. Next up here at the number 4 spot, we have the Poison Mushroom, and of course we previously seen mushroom builds within the Mario sets, but I really love the color scheme of this one. I think the pink and the purple just looks really great, and I love the design of that, and the terrain build's pretty good as well. I like the little like log print also, and how it's kind of sitting on a larger log, and then you get one of the lily pads, which I do like as well. They seem to be using a lot of those because it's more like sort of water builds going on with these ones for the terrain, but I think it just translates pretty well. Of course it's more in a blocky shape than the actual circular mushroom shape from the games, but I still think it looks pretty good, and I just really love the mushroom builds for the Mario sets. Now at number 3 right here we have the Thwimp, and I really like this build here. This one is awesome looking. I have to say, some of the ones from sets like Bowser's Castle and stuff like that, the Thwomps, I really love that types of stuff in the Mario games. I've always had a soft spot for them, and I just really love their sort of spiny designs, and I have to say this might be one of my favorite ones for translating it from the game into the form here. I think that it just looks honestly quite perfect. I feel like the spikes work really well with this one. I like the terrain build as well, kind of recreating that lava scene and how it's on some bricks there, which I think looks really good, or some stone I suppose, but I really love it. I love the facial expression there as well. I think that looks really fantastic also. I think it just looks really amazing. I really do think they nailed this one, and it has an awesome looking design. Now at the number 2 spot here we have a Fly Guy. Now of course we previously seen a Shy Guy build from LEGO, and this one is basically that, but then with a propeller on the head, but I honestly had to put this one so high on the list because I think they've really perfected like the Shy Guy build. I think it just looks so fantastic and translated really well from the game, I would have to say. I love the face print there. I think that looks amazing as well, and the terrain build here is a little bit more simplistic, but I think the character build just looks so great, and this is such a cool way to get a cheap way to kind of acquire these Fly Guys or Shy Guys, whatever you want to make them into. So I do like it for that aspect as well, kind of army building wise. So I just have to say I really love this build. Alright, now at the number 1 spot here, we have a Goomba, but this one is the Bone Goomba, and I think this one just looks fantastic. This was one where it immediately jumped out at me when I first saw these sets revealed. I was like, that is an awesome looking build. I love the face print there. I think that looks really amazing, and then I love how they captured the little teeth coming out at the bottom there, the 2 teeth, how they kind of printed it. It looks like on the leg piece there, or a part of that piece. I think that was just so smart, and it captures it really well. And then I love the little almost like fire piece there on the bottom. I think that looks really cool, kind of showing the lava kind of simmering up. I think that's really awesome. It's standing on some stone as well, similar to the Thwimp, which I did say I have a bit of a soft spot for some of these more like Bowser's Castle build, stuff like that. I think that they're just so cool, and I really do love the design of this one. I think it stands apart really well, even with its color scheme. Also, the yellow eyes just look so menacing as well. They were able to capture a lot of expression in this one, so that's why it makes my number 1 spot. Alright, so that's going to conclude this video here for my ranking of the LEGO Super Mario Character Pack Series 2. Now, for me personally, I know some people are probably going to ask this, or at least are wondering this, if I prefer the first series or the second series, and I would have to say that I think this one definitely improves in some sorts of spots, and just being someone who doesn't really collect a lot of the Super Mario line, I mean, I've only gotten one of the Series 1 packs, so I can't really comment on it too much, but I feel like this one improves in some ways, but then takes a few steps back in other ways. But I would have to say, for at least my top 5 picks, those are some of my favorite ones, and I'm sure if I took, which I didn't do a ranking for the first series, but I think if I had to rank those and took my other top 5 picks, turning those both into one series, I think would just work really well, because I love the builds in these. I think it's such a cool way to get some of the extra characters here, the ones that aren't really incorporated into the regular sets that you purchase, and there's just some really awesome and unique builds here, and I feel like this one does a good job of really bringing some variety to those builds in this thing, because even though some of them might not translate as well into LEGO, at least in my opinion, I still feel like they're unique builds. You get some cool prints as well for the faces, and some alright terrain builds also, so I definitely like them for that. So yeah, I would have to say this is a really strong Series 2, but be sure to let me know all of your thoughts down below on the series. Once again, let me know your rankings as well. I'm really curious to hear them, and let me know your thoughts on my rankings also, if maybe you think you can argue a point to kind of like turn me over to putting another one in a higher spot on the list, because of course this is just my personal opinion, so you might be able to persuade me in some sort of way, so feel free to do so. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like on it. I would really appreciate that, and also subscribe if you want to see some of my other content. Also, I primarily cover LEGO, Funko Pops, I do reaction videos, all of that cool stuff, so if you want to stay tuned for any of that, it would be highly appreciated. So thank you so much. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.